Senator Mike Rounds. Senator, it's great to have you on the program. Thank you so much for being here. A tragic incident taking place has many wondering what is to come and how we got here. We had an open border the last 4 years. We've got terror cells fueling around in this country. This administration really dropped the ball. What happens next?
The first thing that we want to do is to secure the border. We know that there are people coming across the border that have ill intent. And when you've got literally 10 million individuals that have crossed that border, it means that the guys that are in charge of the border have been chasing them down, basically working them through an administrative process and releasing them into the country. That allows terrorists, other individuals, criminals, if they want to get around that, they know that the guys who are supposed to be on the border are tied up with administrative duties. That's part of the problem that we've got right now. ISIS is a real threat. ISIS is still viable. They come out of the Middle East, but because of the internet, they have the ability to continue to put out a lot of information that influences individuals that are going through tough times. We're seeing that here in the United States right now. Our thoughts and prayers go out to those individuals who have been affected by that terrible loss in New Orleans. But once again, this is a case of where you can't take your eye off the ball. You've got to be focused on keeping ISIS at bay, eliminating them throughout the world, but also protecting our borders. And that's something that the Biden administration has absolutely failed to accomplish.
I'm also glad that you brought up the Middle East, because certainly that's where the threat originates. And this is an administration that's had many foreign policy disasters. The region is more of a mess than we've seen it in decades. Your thoughts on how President-elect Trump will come back into office and try to secure the region and honestly just keep us safe?
To begin with, you cannot have a foreign policy that says that we are weak. You must be in a position to negotiate from a position of strength. President Biden failed in that category. When he left Afghanistan, the rest of the world looked and said, America is withdrawing. They are not the powerful force they once were. That type of an attitude by the rest of the world is not good for America. We have to stand strong. Our allies have to recognize that we are for real and that we are serious, that we will protect not only our borders, but we'll protect our way of life. And that is something that the Biden administration has absolutely failed to do over the last 4 years. And it's the reason why the American people have said, let's get this thing back to where it ought to be, which is peace through strength. Let's make America great again.
In the wake of these violent incidents, Senator, Senate Majority Leader John Thune pushing for quick confirmation of Trump's key cabinet picks with hearings starting next week. Thune saying this.
It's so important that we get President Trump's nominees into place. These are key national security nominees, and when you've got people who are inspired by terrorist organizations like ISIS in this country to do these types of things, we've got to figure this out so that we can prevent these types of tragic attacks from happening in the future.
Trump warning before this week's events that the Democrats will attempt to delay the process, posting on Truth Social. They will try all sorts of tricks starting very soon, urging Republicans to be smart and tough. Senator, do you see any threats of Senate Democrats looking to delay the confirmations? Is it possible that there will be resistance to Trump's security picks after the terror attack? Do you think anything has changed?
I don't think anything has changed. I think that Democrats will scrutinize each of the individuals in the national security team. But that doesn't mean that we can't move forward. I'm optimistic that we'll get President Trump's team in place, but we'll have to work our way through that process. We can't even vote on them until after the president has been inaugurated, but we can go through the process of interviewing them. We can get the hearings out of the way and move quickly after that. We've got the majority in the Senate. I believe that Republicans will stand as a team, and we'll get the national security team put together very, very quickly.
Trump's borders are reacting to the recent violent incidents, urging the next administration to target threats coming from within our own country. Listen.
We need to really dig down into insider threat in our military, in our federal service, whether it's the FBI, whether it's other agencies. I mean, insider threat analysis has been put in the back seat by this administration. We can't let this go on any further.
Senator, you're on the Armed Services and Veterans Affairs Committees. What do you make of these two incidents being carried out by men that had U.S. military experience?
It was extremely disappointing. I was shocked when I heard that both of them have been members of our armed forces. We value what these young men and women do that put themselves in harm's way to protect the rest of us. And to find that these two individuals had been, number one, either impacted by ISIS, or number two, felt so much despair that they had to end their own lives in the case of the individual in Las Vegas. In both cases, it says something about what's going on in our military and about the message that in some cases they're receiving. Look, we've got to get back to a military force which is focused on being lethal. And that means being strong and recognizing that they are the best of the best. I think that attitude has got to be reinstilled in our military.
I want to get back to broader foreign threats against our nation. Senator Tim Scott, the ranking member of the Banking, Housing and Urban Affairs Committee that you sit on as well, demanding answers from Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. How were China state-sponsored hackers able to conduct a major cyber attack on that office that oversees economic sanctions? What, if anything, has your committee heard on this topic?
We haven't heard a lot at this point. We will have hearings, I'm quite certain of that. Part of the discussion has got to be, who are we hiring to do our security workforce? Are we using independent contractors that are capable? We have to recognize that China, who is the source of these attacks, they are very good at cyber attacks. They are very good at getting into networks. We've got to be better. And that means a continued focus day to day, every day, recognizing that that threat is out there. If you let your guard down, China will get in. And that's exactly what has happened in this particular case. The good news, if there is any, is it does not appear that they got into any classified information, but they probably did get some sensitive information. That is unfortunate, but this is an early warning for us that they are out there, that they are for real, and that we've got to do everything we can within Congress to make sure that the resources, the tools, and the focus is on keeping our information secure.
Absolutely. Senator Mike Rounds, thank you so much for being here, and Happy New Year, sir.
Thank you.